everyone. Thank you for joining us today, coming to work and spending your time with me today. Talking about personal brand, social media, specifically how to get clients or how to be on socials to gain clients. A little bit about me before that. My name is Magali Mazdamato. Max for short is because a lot of people call me Magali and that just doesn't sit well with me, right? Max is okay, Max cool, never mind. I'm a global marketing and social media consultant. I've been working in social media and marketing for the last 10 years, helping brands like Nationwide, Insights, in a sense, Nissan, Visa, and others that I just didn't add here because of space, to adapt, optimize, and localize their content into a new market or a certain age group that perhaps they didn't have in considerations when they created this strategy. So I basically help people move their strategy around and get into a specific niche, market, culture, right? These are a few of the things. One point here, I'm neurodiverse, of course. So if it's not on site, it's out of mind, right? So you'll see me having a look at my slides because I know what I want to talk about. I know what is coming. And also at the same time, I don't until I see it. So please don't worry about me, I'll just be going back and forth. We are talking about harnessing social media for personal branding, how to build genuine trust with your following, and afterwards, once you get that following, once you get those leads, how to convert those leads into clients. The bit that I want to ask you here is how many of you offer your services as consultants? Okay, quite a fair of you. How many of you work with product-based products, services, offerings? Okay, sort of a few of you. The reason I'm asking is because it's fairly different at some point, and I'll try to adapt what I say to both. But if you have any questions afterwards, just let me know, because I'm going to start with understanding how personal branding works in socials, how this changes. It changes a lot according to the speaker or the person talking about it, right? Personal branding sometimes is what you do online. Also, people are going to tell you personal branding is how you show up, the colors you wear, all the interactions that you have. It depends what speaker you're talking with. It can go in one direction or the other. Basically, personal brand is the unique identity and reputation that we build for ourselves, either online or in person. Both work, whatever you're aiming to do. There are 3 pillars for personal branding, which is authenticity, consistency, and value, which are 3 perspectives that not everyone covers, but this will work online in a very good way. Authenticity, here I added, I don't know if you know the cereal brand, Surreal. It's a protein-based cereal brand. They work with having protein cereals that are zero sugar, different tastes, whatever. They actually market a very tight niche, which is people to do exercises. But here they use the Kellogg's typography to make it really fun. It's very aligned to what they do, which is sort of a little bit salty, like making fun of what they do. So that's why they use Kellogg's, just to be like, we are zero sugar, but used in the same typography and how they work. There's another pillar, which is consistency. This is a colleague of mine, which is called Andy Lambert. When I talk about consistency, I'm not talking about posting or showing up every day, but the direction that you talk about, right? Specifically for me, I work with global brands, and I talk about global or international social media. But that's what I talk about because that's the consistency that I want to give to my clients. It doesn't mean that I'm showing up every day or posting every day. I do interact a little bit every day, but that means that I am not going to be talking about email marketing. Well, I do know about it. Like, I've been working with email marketing for a really long time. It doesn't show in my consistency in that way because I want to be known for a certain thing, which is international social media. So this is something that I usually don't post about. Here, Andy talks all the time about B2B social media and marketing. And he shows videos, he shows apps, in comments, in whatever he does, he talks about the perspective of B2B. So the first things that come to mind when I think about him is that, right? So that's how the association works with him. Another pillar is value, which ties a little bit to consistency and how Andy always shows value here while talking about video, but this is Annie May Hodge with Girl Power Marketing. There's a lot of people doing social media updates. Probably if you're in a newsletter, you will get them, like they're everywhere. Everyone has their own weekly social media updates. Yet she is the one that is recognized for them the most. And when people are actually want social media updates, it's the first person that comes to mind and the people talk about when you are talking about it. It doesn't mean that there's anything else out there. It's just she's adding value every time that she posts. She's consistent. She posts that every week. So you know that every week you're getting that out of her. The goal of doing all these things and to build these pillars and this consistency is to create associations. So when people think about social media updates, again, Annie May Hodge, Girl Power Marketing, the first thing that comes to mind is that. When people think, I should start another example about social media sales, I know I need to go to Robert Knopp. He's great. I'll share the slides afterwards with him if you want to follow him. He always posts about that and explains how social media work in sales, and then how I build my brand, which is in global marketing social media. The idea with every touch point that I create is for people to create that association. So when they think about global social media, they start thinking about me. In the same way that you guys need to post and be consistent, in that way that you want someone to remember you for something in particular. It's the association bit that the ones that we need to create with this. So how do we build our personal brand and socials? Before we get into thinking about creating content, there is a few bits that we need to understand first, which is who's your audience and what are our platforms. Choosing the right social media platform, there's not a right or wrong answer on this. It's according to where your audience is. And don't worry about taking pictures. Do take pictures if you want to. We'll share this afterwards, though. Don't worry. So when we are thinking about our audience, is to think about who is your audience. Like, where are they? What kind of platforms they're in? How do they speak? Like, do I have any connections on LinkedIn that might be part of my target audience? Can I reach out to them? Can I ask them questions? Like, don't worry too much about creating a perfect buyer persona, because we tend to overthink this stuff, and it's better actually just to reach out to other people and ask them how do they perceive us, if they work ever with us, if they work with a professional similar to us, why do they hire them? It's all of these questions that we can reach out to other people to understand what they're looking for. And the next step, once we know that, is selecting our platforms, what we can do in two different ways, right? We can either do what works for us. For example, I hate Instagram. I know, like social media person saying like they hate Instagram. I am not there, I won't be there, I don't film TikToks. I know my audience is on LinkedIn because they're usually VPs, they're CEOs, they're founders, they're people that are, decision makers, and I usually find them on LinkedIn. So I don't spend time on Instagram, not because it's not valuable, but because my time is limited, as all of ours. And unless you have the resources or you work with someone else that allows you to have more than one platform, it's better just to have less and do better than be everywhere and be very burnt out, because we are not going to be able to actually keep the consistency and be there and post as much as we should do. The other option is, fish where the fish are, which is basically my audience on LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn because I find them there, right? And I should start an example, but I already mentioned. If your audience is small business owners, TikTok, Instagram might be a good option for you. But as if your audience are decision makers, you'll probably find them on LinkedIn. It will be easier to find them on LinkedIn because you can search them for job titles, basically, right? But again, this all depends on a lot of things of your audience, your timings, your resources. The more resources you have, probably the more platforms you can be in. If not, less is usually better. One thing I do see a lot of people, I don't want to say failing at, but perhaps overcomplicating, is the fact that they don't have an optimized social profile. I just forgot the word for it. But one of the things that we need to make sure when we craft our profile, this is a LinkedIn one. This guy talks about this all the time. He's Jesse Van Bruegel. I don't know how to pronounce his surname. But he talks about it all the time and how to get leads and how to craft your profile to do it. And one of the things that he raves all the time is just to make it really easy for clients. Make it really easy for clients to know what you're doing, to be able to say in a single phrase what you do. If you're a marketing expert, if you're an email marketing, if you're a founder, if you're an investor, whatever, people need to know what you do, right away. And there's a bit of which this is why I ask if you guys have products or service-based offerings, because for products, when I say differentiation is key, for example, for toothpaste usually do all the same, right? It's the same product. What it changes is how we use one or the other, because they have different benefits, basically, if it's whitening or if it's for sensitive teeth, right? But it's basically the same product. Well, for services, we need to make sure that results are key, because when decision makers step into this phase, they need to know what you do and what they'll get right away, because fear of messing up, which is FOMO, is much bigger at this stage than fear of missing out. So people will be scared not of not working with you, but of the results that you'll bring. If you can ensure that you'll give them results, you're already getting ahead on this stage, because they want to make sure that they're not messing up in front of their colleagues, coworkers, they're not actually using budget, that they might not have a lot and you're not going to deliver. So making sure you deliver those results is the first key and focus. And another tip on this is just to make it super easy for clients to tell other people about you, and that's how you know if your messaging is clear enough. So if a person can say, hey, I'm going to hire you because you're going to help me with that email marketing and you're going to deliver me these results, you're not making it easy for them to get the budget for it. So a quick tip there is just ask other people to review your profile and tell you in a sentence what you do. And if they really nail that, you know that you're doing a good job with it. Next step is just start posting. So a year ago, I barely had less than 300 connections on LinkedIn. Nowadays, I have more than 2,000 followers. It doesn't seem like a really big number, right? It could be much more than that. There are people that grew more in less time. I'm not a super fan of sending connection requests like crazy. I just make sure that they're super conscious, because those 2,000 followers and connections that I have bring me clients. And they bring me money, and that's the goal. And that was by selecting the right ones rather than just going crazy and sending connection requests. Once you start posting, it's just a mix of different things. Again, you should know what you're talking about. You know what your personal branding is. I am blah, 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 and I want to be talking about this. You've nailed that down. You know who's your audience. You know what platforms they use. We need to start posting. We can talk about trends and relevant industry tactics. You can write your own articles and position yourself as an industry leader. You can talk about results and services. I went viral a couple of times. That didn't mean that my followers increased a lot, but it did give me a lot of visibility, and I did gain a couple of leads and close a couple of contracts afterwards, specifically for international clients. So it's been super conscious of what we post and how people perceive us and what they get out of it. Most of the times, the people that hire me are actually lurkers. They haven't interacted with me. That doesn't mean that the content that you're putting out isn't worth it, but they do tend to take it between 5 and 7 times before they reach out to you. So how much you post, usually it's relevant to this stage when they get to know you, because it will take some time for them to reach out to you and for you to make sure that you're offering the services that they need. If you really don't know where to start, this is one of the tricks that actually allowed me to start, specifically being neurodivergent, which is working with templates. Well, I just went on LinkedIn, looked for people who were doing similar stuff to what I was doing, and I had a look at what they posted, created a template, and then I created something similar. This doesn't mean that you go on LinkedIn or Instagram or whatever and you just duplicate exactly the same content. It's just to help you have an idea of what the cadence of the content is. This doesn't mean that we're going to just do a copy paste. This means that we are changing the post that we liked and adding our own value to it, right? Would never recommend for you to just do a copy paste. Another of the things that we sort of get caught up a lot is on creating new content. And every time just, be creating new stuff and be creating new topics and be all the time in this sort of like overproductive stage when not actually we don't need to. There's a lot of value in repetition. This is Jessie Chan. She grew like gross amount of followers in a really short time. She has her own agency now. She didn't start it that long ago, but she usually, like, the images are very similar, but the content that she posts is usually the same. She always starts with, I've gained X number of followers since January 1st. I grew my LinkedIn to 26,000 in 5 months. And the posts to the right are actually fairly similar to the ones in the middle. So again, we don't need to be posting new content every time, but we do need to repost the content that it has worked. Just change a few things, try again. Sometimes content that we already created is very good and we just need to keep posting it again because people that followed us in the last month might not know what we posted 6 months ago. And we really need to be smart on this, and that doesn't mean that we need to be all over-delivering all the time. Just be really conscious that this also works. Now, let's say that you've been posting on socials, you're creating your personal brand, you know what direction you're going, you're posting consistently, you're getting those leads, you're starting those conversations. How do we turn those conversations into paying clients? Honestly, there's no magic recipe to get leads. I'm not gonna lie on this one. It's like whoever's coming in and telling you like you'll get 10 leads per month that are highly qualified and you're gonna make money out of them, they're probably lying. It never happens that way. Getting leads can happen through direct messages, it can happen through email marketing, it can happen at networking events like today. Everything is gonna change and it's gonna work differently according to what you feel most comfortable with. I was lucky enough that I didn't need to reach out to people a lot to get leads before I actually started freelancing. Other people just went freelance directly and they needed to pay their mortgages and they needed to pay their stuff, so they had to go out and use DMs to look for clients. Depends on the situation you're in. If you do that, it's absolutely fine. Just start conversations, add value to whatever conversations you're having with people, make sure that you're being helpful, make sure that you're reminding people of what you do. So they know when, oh, if I need to do this, I know this person is available, they have brought me value in the past, so I'm gonna go back to them, right? Getting prospects can be from outbound streams or inbound streams. Outbound, we reach out to clients. Inbound, clients come to you, right? So outbounds, again, is like us getting direct messages, attending networking events, running paid ads. It depends, again, of what situation you're in, that if you need to go out and get clients, or if clients can come to you by posting on socials and having your personal branding and doing things a little bit more slowly. It can happen through hosting webinars, workshops, optimizations. In either way, you need to put yourself out there, perhaps less, perhaps more, depending on how many leads you need and how many closes you need to do. Again, this is just the ways of starting conversations. So people get into the next stage when they're ready to buy from you. There are a few things that about how clients choose that is going to make a whole difference, which is proactivity, which is once the project and can work independently. If I'm emailing you because I want something, I want you to help me with email marketing. I don't know, I'm just making up a stage. Let's just say that. Now you're an email marketer. And you reply 10 days later, probably that's showing me that there's not a lot of proactivity from your part and I'm gonna have to chase you, or depending on the timings that I have, I might not have 10 days, right? So being available, being proactive, like replying back, chasing people. You guys have no idea how many times I had to chase people that actually really wanted to work with me, but they forgot. They had other things to do. So always doing that follow-up is good. It shows you that you want to work with them. Building trust. So you'll know you get things done and you have the confidence to do it, which sounds very silly because you might be the best expert in your field, but if you're not showing that confidence, clients do tend to get that fear of messing up and they usually take a step back when they need to do that because they need someone who can deliver, because you're hiring and third person because you need them to sort out your issue. If you could sort it by yourself, you probably would. You're on that stage. You're, of course, how clients choose is by knowing that you will deliver results. So you, again, fear of missing out is higher than fear of missing out. So they can work, they really want, sorry, I'm gonna step back there. They might really want to work with you, but if they don't know if you're gonna be able to deliver results, that's also going to take them in another direction. So we need both of them. And by being the obvious choice, which I'll explain a little bit in the next slide, but there is no use of being the best of your field, or like, unfortunately, you can be the best of your field, but if you're not the first choice that comes to mind, they might not choose you. It's as simple as that, unfortunately, again. And how do you become the obvious choice? I'll share this. This has saved me so many times, which I usually have a 1 hour call when I'm at the stage where clients be like, okay, I want to work with you because I want you to help me solve this, and I follow this stream, which has different context discussion, like situation, what do they want, indicators of success, what are the risks and concerns during the project, what's the value, and what are the parameters we need to consider while delivering a project. This is so I know a lot of the things that they require, that they need. So when I send back a proposition, I know I'm going to nail all of this because we already had these discussions. Usually when I work with clients also, I already know them, so I have these conversations with them. They might have come to me asking about something different on social media. So usually people that I do know. It's not just like cold leads that I have that are asking for a quote. But knowing this is just to make sure that they have nothing to say back to you. And one of the questions that saved me a lot, that it depends on who you're talking with, or if you're confident or you're not confident with them, if you're comfortable, is, if I can find it, what quote would give you an absolute heart attack? So you already know what's, it's very silly, right? But when you're talking with a client, it'll be like, well, okay, how much do I need to budget that I know that'll just give you a heart attack? It'll be like, okay, if you want to charge me 10K for this, I'll just probably tell you to fuck off, right? So now I know that I whatever I do needs to be lower than that. I'm not asking for how much budget they have because clients usually don't tell you that right away, but I'm asking for a limit. If it's less than that and my fees are higher because that's how much it costs me to maintain a business, I'll just be like, might not be the best option. But now I know, basically, for all the questions, all the problems they have, the number, everything. So when I finally send a proposal back, it's nailing everything. I am the obvious choice. I know what our issues are. Like, I know what conversations we need to have. We just need to start, basically. And finally, when I do send the propositions, I try to make it about them as much as possible. We're humans. Nobody cares about the other person, which is absolutely normal. You might be super empathic and you do care a lot of people, but also at the same time, you care about yourself, and clients get the same. They need to make ends meet, and they care about their projects, their business, their whatever. So whatever I do, I just make it about them, which is why it's so helpful having the context discussion that I had with them previously, because I know what their issues are, I know what they need. I can adapt my offering to exactly what they need, because there's no chance for us to work together if they want blue and I offer red, right? So this is all to make it about them. If it's not possible for me to adapt, I'll just point them in the right direction, because there's still a relationship that might work with me in the future time. But again, if I'm not perfect for them, they can't afford it, or they want something else, they don't realize they want something else, which usually happens. It's just a thing of sending them in the right direction. Perhaps you can build a referral with someone else and still get some commission out of it. The last bit is building a proposal, and basically be confident. There's a lot of things that I've discussed with clients when they hired me again because I was just portraying out. I'm being confident. I'm making sure that you're going to hire me for this, I'll deliver that. Just if I can, I'll deliver even more, right? Because I want the relationship to keep going. But also is that bit of like being confident about it and being like, I know my shit. I know what I do. So I know what I can deliver. And they know that they don't have to chase you because they know that you do know your stuff, right? A last thing is learning to close deals. It takes time. My first one was terrible. Of course, they didn't call me. They didn't call me back. The next one was also terrible. They didn't call me back either. But then I knew a little bit more about it. Until my third and my fourth one, and I just kind of like got into the gist of it. My proposals were getting better. I was nailing it down a little bit more. I was feeling more confidence of what I was doing. And again, the first ones are basically gonna be a little bit awful, right? You feel you left the call, you feel nervous. It's like, yeah, this didn't went well. And that's it, everyone. I hope that was easy enough to follow. So just a last recap points. Know who you are and build an authentic, consistent brand. You got what it takes to do what you do. So just follow that and just make it super easy for clients to know what you do too. That's just gonna make it super easy. Create content that just builds trust and connections, building on what you can deliver for them. And just use strategic actions to convert followers into clients. Start conversations, reach out to them. Know what you have to offer. And that's it. Thank you, everyone. If you want to connect on LinkedIn or you have more questions, feel free to get the QR code out.
Thank you, my love.
Happy to.